Dear Prismo shareholders, welcome to this edition of Prismo in the News. It's been a while since we did an update. We've had two, three, four news releases since our last update, so we will cover the news of the last month, more or less. And today we have a very special guest, Yves Usereau, who's a very well-known commentator on commodities markets in Quebec, and he's a big shareholder of Prismo and somebody that we go to for comments and analysis of where he thinks that commodity prices will go into the future and why, more importantly. So you want to stay for Yves' presentation. He's got a few slides, and in my view, he's probably the person that I know that's done the most historical research on commodity cycles. So stay tuned. He's coming on here in a few minutes, but we will start, Craig and I, by updating our shareholders. You will have seen major news was that we have raised capital that in the last few weeks. That means that our 2026 drill campaign at Silver King is fully funded. I'll talk a little bit about the permitting process here in a second, but I want to talk to you. I want to turn it over to you, Craig, and remind our shareholders of what's the primary objective of phase one. They know that we will focus around the Silver King mine, but maybe give them an overview of what you have in mind for the first 1,000 to 2,000 meters of drilling.
Yeah, thanks, Alain. Basically, the first part of the drilling program is designed to test what is the historic Silver King deposit, which is a steeply plunging cylindrical body. And we think historical mining, reached to about 950 feet, almost 1,000 feet below the surface on this steep body, most of the production from a shaft. And we think the upper part of this deposit beneath the surface mining in a glory hole down to about 300 feet was not significantly mined in the past. And the drill program is designed to primarily test that part of the ore deposit, or the mineralized body, I should say, and also the presumably mineralized rock surrounding the high-grade core of the cylinder.
And if I'm not mistaken, Craig, also it's totally open at depth. I'm not saying that we're going to go drill 300-meter holes day one, but this mineralized body seems to be open at depth. Isn't that the case?
Yes, right now we have the information that it was mined to roughly 300 meters. We don't know why they stopped, but presumably the deposit extends to depth. And this first pass drilling is just that. It's a first pass, and based on success, we step off and continue exploring down plunge on this ore body.
And then we also announced in the last few weeks, Craig, the discovery of new exploration areas. I want to focus first on what's close to the mine itself, which we have referred to in our news releases as the polymetallic vein. You want to talk about that target?
Yeah, that's a significant discovery because it's the only real known mineralization that's similar to the high-grade silver mineralization at the historic Silver King mine that we found, or that is known really outside of the mine itself. And this was a vein that had significant production. And sometime in the past, I actually found a historical photograph where you could see a mine opening in this area that was from 1917. So we know the production was, at least that old and probably older. There's not much reference to it. High-grade silver, copper, lead, and zinc in a vein system. And I think it's significant. We don't know, we don't have any drill holes on it. We just have a few surface occurrences. So that's something we'll be doing follow-up work on, as time progresses.
And I was with you there 2 weeks ago, Craig, and you took me there, and Yeah, there's significant work that was there, given everything that you've seen, including the dumps. And there's an old adit which I think is has been obstructed by some rocks falling, and maybe even a some kind of a shaft there. So which means that there was meaningful production at one point, wasn't it?
Yes, I mean the dump there is large. It's of the size that just a simple estimate. It looks like there might be as much as 500 meters of workings in that area. And it's you can't see much right now. Like you said, there seems to be a portal, a tunnel portal that's been collapsed, and then there may be a shaft. We could see a depression in this dump area, and water flows into that depression and does not flow out. So we assume it's going into a shaft.
There you go. So thanks for that. Now I want to move a little bit further east of the property because there are two significant targets there. They were actually part of the news release we had um, this week. And before you talk about those, I want to remind our shareholders that Silver King is, I like to refer to it as the hole in the donut being Resolution Copper. Resolution Copper is a joint venture between Rio Tinto and BHP, and they own the largest unmined copper deposit on the planet, which is the Resolution Copper deposit, which is 3K from our property. And if you move up about a K and a half to the north from Resolution, you get to an area where the old magma mine was sitting, which was a moderate producer, but with very high grades of copper. And we're ourselves in what appears to be favorable host rocks 1.5K from magma. And then we have the crown porphyry stockwork and the black diamond replacement targets. We've had some very good news, as I said, this week. You might want to explain what that is, Craig, and the significance of what that means.
Yeah, so as we've talked about in the past, the host stratigraphy that formed the mineralization for the magma mine is basically this extends along strike to the Silver King area. And, that's what we were exploring in last month, and that with these new results they're from that area. I think they're great results. They're great exploration targets. We have high-grade copper in the replacement body at Black Diamond. We had many of the samples, most of them were over 1% copper. I had a couple in the 5 to 6% copper range. And there's visible copper all over this outcrop. And I think also just as significant, although maybe not as impressive with the grades, but we have a stockwork intrusion a few hundred kilometers north or northwest of this replacement body.
Sorry, a
And
few hundred
this,
meters, not kilometers.
yeah, a few hundred meters, sorry. And that's, they're, both of those are on a patented claim. We can work on those as we desire. There's road access to the Black Diamond, actually. And there is a small document I had for it that was done in about 1980 that describes the area, and they did some work on it and planned some drill holes on the Black Diamond. But they said this stockwork area was not well mineralized, and I think they weren't correct. We've taken samples there. We had low but anomalous values of copper, lead, and zinc. But I think significantly, we have a couple samples with high gold, 4 and 5 grams per ton gold. And there is a little bit of silver there. And, we had a couple of over limits that we haven't published yet, so we'll put those out. But I think, this thing is potentially very significant. And if you think about the magma mine itself, it's a very high grade copper deposit, but it was originally staked at roughly the same time as Silver King for silver. And
Mhm.
they worked a couple hundred feet, silver ran out, and they hit copper. And we really feel that the silver mineralization at Silver King is a similar feature. We have silver mineralization associated with the copper mineralization, and we have all the features you need defined a pretty interesting, potentially major copper and polymetallic deposit here. So we'll be working on that. We had some preliminary IP study that showed some targets associated with these features we're mentioning. So we're going to do some more IP. I think by the end of the year we'll have some really good information, and I think we'll have some really good drill targets for next year.
So that was going to be my next question, Craig, about the IP. If you could, maybe describe what IP is, geophysics, but what was the first phase which was completed? What did that tell you? And what's the next phase that you're proposing to do? And I'm happy to report it'll be done, if I'm not mistaken, before the end of the year. So over to you, Craig.
Yeah, that's right, Alain. The IP is basically an electrical method where current is injected into the ground. And in this case, we start off with an initial gradient array survey. It's very fast, relatively low cost, just to see if we have any response for resistivity, which is one of the features or items we measure in the rock. And the other one is a IP effect or chargeability, which basically they inject current in the ground. They measure, in this case, they injected a fair distance away from where you're measuring. So you're measuring at what we think is roughly a 300-meter depth. And that was what we wanted to see. What are we looking at depth under the surface exposures? And as you see in the release, we had some pretty good anomalies associated with that crown stockwork. And, we're looking deep. So now what we want to do is do some more detailed pull dipole work, which basically you're in closer to the deposit. You're measuring from the surface now to a depth of about 300 meters along what we call sections or pseudo sections. And that way we can define the three-dimensional geometry of these anomalies. And that's what we'll need to identify a drill target. And as you said, that'll be starting, roughly sometimes next week, late next week. It'll be done before the end of the year, so we'll have results coming up near the end of the year or very early in the next year. And I think they'll show some pretty good targets.
So thank you, Craig. And so let me say a few words about permitting. So permitting in the part of the world that we're in is through Forest Service, which is part of the federal government. We had a little bit of delay because of the government shutdown, but we've made tremendous progress. Our plan of operations has been declared complete. And now the next phase happened this week. We had people from Forest Service on the property with Craig and the rest of the team. And there's what we hope will be the final internal meeting at Forest Service next week on the 9th. And then there's one more step after that. It's the approval for archaeology, which is state. But that should be a fairly smooth and quick process. I know the archaeologist was on site and satisfied with your plan, Craig. So hopefully we get everything wrapped up and we can get a drill there in January. So that covers the news and conclusion again. So our drill program will be up to 2,000 meters. The money's in the banks, fully funded, and converted in US dollars, and the budget's been approved. So we're just waiting for the permit, and then we'll be ready to drill. And now I'm pleased to bring on here Yves, who's been a tremendous supporter of ours, as I said at the onset. A pleasure to deal with. And as I've said, his presentation he's made to me in French. If we have time, we can do it. Well, we'll do it in English first, even then we can do French if you feel like it. But tremendous information and very important information on commodities markets. So over to you, Yves.
Yeah, thank you, Alain. Merci pour l'invitation. People will see my strong French accent. I will try to most of my slide because I just have the information from yesterday. I just picked from because I made a lot of presentation. I just made a big presentation on the mining convention in Association Minière du Québec like 1 month ago. I have like 200 slides. I just picked a little bit few one because what I want to talk today. Maybe in the future we will talk because we have a different subject. But what is important to know because some people think because the gold price doubled in the past maybe 1.5 years, 2 years, and some people they say, oh, the party is will ending, and I will show you some different proof to think and say I think it's just the beginning. I will start with to share the Alain just me dire si. Okay, I will try to be fast because I don't want to be too long, maybe 10, 15 minutes. Why? Okay, it's about debt, money supply, the participation, the currency, but I inverse the order, the valuation, and technicals a little bit. I'll be very brief. Uh, I'll be fast for a beginning because I want to talk about money supply. This is not the money supply; it's another chart. But one important point because I made a big research. You don't have the numbers now, but I have the proof. You know the junior, the price of the junior is very correlated with the money supply and this statistic. You know the business cycle, the ESM, and what we see we were negative for the past maybe 4 years. But check the other point. This information come from Raoul Pal. He's a big, smart guy. And we see a little bit, you know, the interest rate is a precursor indicator about the business cycle. And what we see is probably we will have, I know the numbers on economy is very bad, but with the interest rate, I think we have the possibility to have like a few months interesting. You will see why. Okay, we just talk about the debt we have to roll. Okay, we say the U.S. have a lot of debt in the next few months, maybe 1-2 years. So they have no choice, with interest rate lower. And because of that, the projection of the business cycle, we have a possibility, it's not sure, okay, to have a peak maybe in the next maybe 6 months, okay, of 2026. And because of that, it's the short term, but the short term is not very important. What I want to talk is more about the long term. Because of the debt, okay, the US have no choice, and a lot of other countries, US the worst, to print a lot of money. Okay, to inflate the debt. And this is very important. It's the money supply, okay, with this expert. And when we check, I don't want to go too much on the detail, but la pente, okay, it's very, very important, okay? It's this, it's with that we have a big bull market. And when we have contraction, okay, we have a big bear market on the junior, okay? It's very important. And one of the most important signal we had in the past 50 years was the breakdown of the ratio, the DXY on the gold with gold. And we have this breakdown in 71, 72. We had the same in 2001, 2002. And we had the same like a few months ago. Okay, it's very, very important because usually we have like 9 years down with a big commodity cycle after that. But the one we have now is very different than les années 2000, the 2000, because the gold price in the 2000, okay, the average gain per year was 18%, and in the 70s was more around 45% per year. And what we have now, it's exactly the same than the 70s. It's a big, big cycle. And we have to talk and to check about the currency, okay? I researched in the past few years. I used to be a newsletter writer, okay? And I try to understand why we have a bull market starting at a certain date and to finish at certain date. I'm looking to find a solution on that. And I discover the solution on the currency. And now check the basket, the DXY, okay, the US against other currency. And we have this cycle, and probably we will have a very big cycle down for the US on the next 10 years. And other currency will prove that. If we use the new world currency unit, we see, check this currency, how it's very correlated with with the commodity cycle, with the gold price. Okay, we see that the year 2000, the last 15 years, it was down, and we're just starting, a bull market. We see that. Check the other. If we check the euro, it's the same. The exact bottom of the last cycle was 2001, 2002, the exact bottom of gold. And the top was 2007. And it was a little bit the same, 7 and 2011. We will see what other currency. And the bottom was 23, 25, okay, a few months ago. Okay, with the euro, very interesting. And we will have this big cycle to come. Check the franc Suisse is more, encore plus éloquent. We see the exact bottom of the gold price here, the exact top of 2011, okay? And, the down price for like more than 10 years. And we're just starting, now. And the yen Japanese, the same. We have the bottom, the top, exact at the bottom of the peak of the gold. My point here is the currency say the truth about the gold cycle, okay, in the past. And another currency very important is the renminbi. Chinese is very, very important today. And check, for example, when you check the candle, the red candle, it was a crash. Okay, the Chinese market is very important for the junior market. When you have that, you have a crash on the junior. The TSXV, we had a big crash on that year. I checked and I proved that. I made a big research on that. And it was the same on the year 2018 and 22, 23. Okay, but the question is where we are now. We are exact at the bottom and we start a up cycle. It's very important for the junior. Okay, I don't want to talk too much about Japan. We know Japan is the country with the most debt in the world. We know China, they buff gold like crazy, and probably only like the part of the iceberg we see. And the retail do the same. It's crazy. But very important now is the Japan is bankrupt. Okay, they have no choice to make intervention on the currency market and check the correlation with gold. Every time Japan made intervention, the gold price explode after. And check, the point is, check where we are now. Exactly the same situation than here and here. I put, a vertical red line, and it's very interesting. Another indicator is the Pring index inflation indicator, and this is very important. This one is on monthly, but we just have the big bull market is just starting. It's a little bit the same than the year 2000, but I think this will be a lot bigger because it was very long. We were maybe 15 years down and we're just starting. It will be very interesting. The other proof we have is the emerging market. All the money in the world is in the US and in the currency US. And this we just roll now and we will start to go on the other way. And the commodity market is very, very correlated with that. It's very important. And another indicator, the easier and the most effective, simply the Toronto, the TSX stock market against the ratio against the S&P 500. If we check the year 2000, we made a triple against because of the resources. We divide by 4, okay, because we were in secular bear market. We just start a bull market. We have the technical indicators, and the duration will be probably another 10 years, maybe 8-10 years. And two other proof is the participation we talked at the beginning. It's impossible to finish a secular bull market with a low participation like that. It's impossible. Okay. where it's very, very low. We don't have, the top of 2010 and 11 was not so big if we compare with the 70s. And the cycle we have now, it's not the 2000. It's more close to the 70s. Okay. And because of that, we have a long, long way to go. And the other point is, if we check the end flow on the big ETF on the GDX and GDXJ, the people are very contrarian. The mass people, they exit, the best asset class, with the best performance in all the world. The people are not started yet to invest on that. It's crazy. And they will come, but they will come later. This is very, very important. Check in red. Okay, in yellow, it's the gold price. In red, it's the ratio. Okay, the HUI, it's a gold miner against gold, but it's very important because behind that we talk about the valuation, the multiple, we pay, the market pay for the leverage of gold. But check, very important to understand. On the past cycle, when gold was at $250, okay, this ratio was very low. It was normal. When we start a secular bull market, the multiple evaluation explode by 5. Okay, on like 3 years, 2.5 years. Okay, it's a normal, pattern, recurrent. But check now. Okay, if we check in the past few months, we have, an anomaly never seen in history, because gold was at the top and the valuation multiple was at the bottom. We never saw this in history. And gold start to explode, but check the multiple. The only way we do for now we did is we make like 50%. But the last time, the valuation was 500%, not 50. We did nothing yet. Okay, it's very, very important. But at some point, the guy who invests, they will check the cash flow, they will check everything, and the multiple will become, will make a catch up to become normal. This is very important. Okay, is if you check, I'm talking about gold, but it's the same for silver, copper. It just to understand the big picture. On the year 2000, okay, we pay, the spot price we pay for the gold in the ground was between 2%, okay, 2 and 10, but the average was around 5-6, okay. But the problem today in peso Canadian, okay, the $4,000 US in peso Canadian, it's like $6,000, okay. But if you put like 5% of 6,000 is $300 per ounce, okay. But the problem is a lot of company they have valuation of $10, $20, $50 per ounce, not 300. Okay, it's crazy. We never have this in history. And because of that, we will have a catch up and overshoot. Probably it will be crazy. The best opportunity the people will have in their life, I think. And we have, the picture of this. It will be easy to understand. I showed this for the past 2 years because I made some presentation at Lux Media, and I'm talking about gold every time. And what we see here, we see the gold just explode, and we double the top of the last cycle in 2011. And in blue we have the producer, the major. Okay, and the major they come back at the same level of the precedent top. Okay, it's normal because the gold is double that, and the major will continue to going up. But the very important and interesting point is the mid-tier, the small cap, they just starting to going up, and they are at the level of the top of 2020, not 2021. It's very important. And because of that, we have a lot of room to grow. But the most extreme is on the micro cap, okay, with the TSXV, the junior from Vancouver. And we see the big catch up we have to do. It's crazy. We only do this, we did nothing. Check. I'm sure this green we see here, we will come back at the top of 2006, 20 years ago. In nominal term, it's crazy. And this is a big opportunity. And I think we just see, the big breakout. We saw, this technical figure everybody know, the cup handle. We have a big consolidation, in gold. And when we broke that, it was crazy. We're going up like vertical. Silver, we just starting to do the same with silver last Friday. Okay, it was the big breakout of the $54. And I think we're just starting to going up. The Fed will probably reduce the rate next week, and we will have a big rally probably in silver. And the breakout on copper was yesterday. It was a big breakout after 20 years of consolidation. Exactly like the gold, but with bigger base. Because of that, I think we'll have a big move on the past few weeks and months on copper. It will be crazy. But copper is very important, Alain, to understand, because copper will push silver. Okay, silver is very important. Okay, first is gold, after it's silver, third is copper, fourth it will be energy. But copper is just starting, and copper will put gas on silver. Because first it was the monetary side of the equation, and now it will be more the commodity side. But this reinforce everything and confirm everything. It's very important. But it will be, because of that, it will be very interesting. The short view technicals, I'm almost finished. We see, the past 6 weeks, okay, the last like small breakout we did on silver. We just start last Friday this move, and probably we will go to $75-$80 in the next few weeks on silver. And copper, it's the same. Copper, it will be, check this technicals, very interesting. We have a lot of other technical target. It will be a big move, and this move, it will be the same than this one. Okay, when copper start from like 80 cents to $4, okay, in only few months, like 1-2 years. It will be a big re-rating of the commodity. We will have exactly the same.
Yeah. You have, Yves, do you have a target for copper?
The court term, I think it will be, I measure the movement. Check what I did. I just duplicate this small move, okay? Only this small, 70%, we will have like $9 the next few months. It's crazy. And after that, it will be, the continuation for maybe, because on the past bull market, the biggest impulsion we have in the year 2000 was in 2003. If you check some graph with the TSXV, this part was the most explosive. A lot of stock made 20-50 bagger. Okay, and we have the same like 2 years after in 25, 26, 27, and after that it was finished. I think we will have the same.
Well, thank you so much for that, Yves. Very informative, and I'm glad you finished with a comment on copper. People will remember that we have a very large copper target in Arizona called Hot Breccia. Our investors know that our plan with respect to Hot Breccia is to find a partner, be it one of the majors or not so major, and take it to the drill stage next year. And discussions are ongoing, trying to partner up with someone and try to unlock the value of Hot Breccia, our copper prospects. So I would say stay tuned on that. We're certainly going to be drilling Silver King in very early 2026. We will continue to work diligently to advance a partnership somehow for Hot Breccia. And if your predictions are right, I think and if Mother Nature's on our side, which we expect, then our shareholders should be rewarded. So I want to thank you, Craig, for taking the time to update our shareholders, and Yves for being our special guest today.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. you.